And speaking of local businesses doing big things, San Antonio's very own Weathered Souls Brewing Company has made its mark around the world when it comes to breweries. Their Black is Beautiful campaign was started by co-owner and head brewer Marcus Baskerville. That beer campaign raised awareness for injustices of people of color and also raised money for social causes and reform.
Yeah, well, now Marcus and Weathered Souls are taking that idea to the next level. He joins us now live. Good morning, Marcus. Thanks for being with us. Can he hear us there? Can we hear them? Maybe he's muted.
I was on mute.
There we go.
Good morning.
I know, everyone's still using Zoom, but you got to be careful with the mute button, right, Marcus?
Hey, Marcus, good morning. Well, we want to first start out by asking you about this new business venture and the incubator program.
Yeah, definitely. So San Antonio has been wonderful in the way that they've supported us over the last 4 years and 10 months. And so we've had the opportunity to open a new location, and we decided to open in Charlotte, North Carolina, where we'll be opening in the spring, early summertime. But with the new location, what we're going to actually be doing is starting a brand new incubation program called the Harriet Baskerville Incubation Program. And what it is we're going to be allowing minorities, people of color, women who are in the process of already opening a brewery, that have breweries in planning that typically contract brew. Where that gap lies is typically these individuals don't have the financial means to run brick and mortars, they don't have the relationships built or the resources to be able to open locations. So what we're going to do is kind of bridge that gap, allow them to come brew on our equipment, work on common CIP practices, brew house procedures. We've partnered with a couple of yeast companies, grain companies, even going into hops, so we can create an educational aspect of it. And by the end of it, what they'll be able to do is have almost an advantage in the industry, which typically isn't given to minorities and people like myself, to be able to kind of progress when they actually physically get out there and ready to open. So we're really excited to kind of see how this program develops over the course of the next few years. We'll be bringing in other world-renowned brewers to come teach classes. We'll be running symposiums, and the goal is to hopefully turn this into an academy within the next few years.
Hey, Marcus, quick question. So this is more of like a mentorship program, it feels like. Is this something you wish you had when you started out, or what kind of inspired you to do this?
Definitely, and that's part of what got me to go ahead and do this. Actually, I was on a Peloton ride, riding to Tunde, and she gave the quote basically that sometimes your passion isn't always your purpose, and sometimes your purpose isn't always your passion, and that made me think. It resonated with me, and so. We had this opportunity with this new equipment that I'm not going to be brewing there all the time. And so I thought it would be the perfect fit to be able to have this incubation program to kind of start that educational processes for people like myself, because no, I did not have those options when I first got into the beer scene.
So I remember the first time that I went out to Weathered Souls and I went into the lab, as Marcus mentioned, he liked to call himself a little bit of a mad scientist in there with all the different flavors and tastes and things like that. So obviously, if people are listening to this or see this later on KSAT.com, definitely take advantage of this incubation program. Marcus is doing some big things, but we have a few questions, Marcus, for you from a KSAT viewer. And this is from Ricardo Moreno, and he's asking about breweries locally expanding to the south side and more in the downtown area. Now, we've seen Black Laboratory, they've expanded out to the east side, but are you seeing a little bit more of that, breweries kind of going to these different areas across San Antonio?
Definitely. I know there's going to be another local brewery that is moving locations to that area soon. I can't give up their name, but yeah, I mean, definitely you see places within San Antonio, especially breweries trying to expand to those areas, especially as they become a little more popular and gentrified. For us ourselves, we're even trying to work with the city locally and open a pop-up location downtown, to where we'll be able to be in a brand new location that typically those individuals don't get access to our beers, or, you know, don't make it to the brewery that often since we're so far. And so since that's such prime real estate within these days, it definitely makes sense that a lot of these breweries are starting to open in those locations.
Marcus, and we know that talking about inspiration, we know of two things that inspire you: helping others and, of course, social justice movements. But what else inspires you to try something different when it comes to brewing?
I think for me, it's the whole artistic, creative aspect of it. I mean, at the end of the day, you look at some of the brewers and some of the concoctions that we come up with, and it's almost a sense of art. And so for me, it's more so of, I guess, just trying to outdo the last thing that I typically did or the last beer that I came out with. And seeing how we can kind of progress from there. My goal as a brewer is to always one up myself with everything that we do. And so it's just more so about doing something fun out of pocket or something that people wouldn't normally expect to see from the brewery.
Well, Marcus, thank you so much for joining us this morning and letting us learn more about this incubation process and just your process in general. I'm sure we can all learn from that. Marcus, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks a lot for the time, Marcus. Really appreciate it, and can't wait to go back out there to Weathered Souls. Got some always interesting things going on out there.
Come pay us a visit soon.
For sure, man.